I knew I'd hit the wrong one. I hit the wrong one. There we go. Howdy, folks. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to have a fun one. We got a lot of good stuff planned, and we got some big announcements. I think folks are going to be really excited to hear about those. So again, thanks for joining us. Let me know in the chat if I see y'all there. And listen, today is a day of two things. Let me tell you. Today is one of those days where, you know, when you have the day when you're typing and you have to constantly look at the keyboard? That it's one of those days. It's also one of those days where I have too many tabs open. And, you know, anyone who knows me knows I'm not a tab person. And every time I see, you know, my friends' computers, you know, Norman, shout out. Man's got tabs for days. Man's got so many tabs, you can't even see, you don't even see the words in there anymore. Okay, so I'm getting some reports that audio is out of sync and super delayed. Wow, that's interesting. Let me take a look here. Let me see here. Solutions will be found right now, which is weird because it wasn't lagging earlier. But let me plug in and take a little wee gander here. In the meantime, let me know how y'all are doing in the chat. I see y'all there. I see my folks on the YouTube. I see my folks on the Twitch. Let me tell you, before we do get started here, for the game show portion of things, you'll want to hop over to Twitch, because that's where we're going to have the little interactive polling. You know, I'm going to be asking you some tricky TouchDesigner questions there, and I want to see your responses. So if you're on YouTube, I'm going to post a link up to our Twitch channel now. Hop over there. But also, if you're more just kind of sitting back, having a nice Friday, by all means, hang out on the YouTube and enjoy. So if you're on the YouTube, you go to that link, twitch.tv/interactive-immersive-HQ. You get to us. Now, let me see what is going on here with this audio situation. Oh, that's tasty. That is a good delay. This is a good delay. Give me 1 second to deal with this bad boy here. Okay. I'm hopeful. I turned everything on and off again. You know, that's step number one of debugging anything. If you're a TouchDesigner developer, is just turn everything on and off. So let me see if that like did us in here. We're good. I'm getting reports here that we're good, I think. All good. Look at that. This is the magic of the technology. You know when people say jokingly, like, hey, did you jiggle the cable? Deep down, we all know that's not a joke. Deep down, we're all terrified that actually jiggling the cable will fix anything that's going on. So thanks for bearing with me as we go through that. So, where do we begin today? We got a fun little Twitch game show coming up. So like we said, if you are up on the YouTube and you want to take more active part in the TouchDesigner Game Show aspect of things, hop on over to the Twitch. We put that link in the YouTube chat for you. I'll put it there one more time. Hello, everybody in the chat. I do see y'all here. Thank you all for joining us. I mean, so many friends in the chat now, so thank you all for joining us. So, first things first. You know, and this is not going to be, you know when you go on like YouTube and you find the video, and then at the beginning they're like, oh my god, the 4 things like the doctors don't want you to know. And then you click on it and they're like, there's 4 things doctors don't want you to know. But wait, and then they have like 20 minutes of other stuff, and then they get to the random like secrets of the universe they're trying to tell you. This is not going to be like one of those. announcement literally will be the first thing we'll do, and then we'll dive into the Twitch Game Show fun, so you don't have to worry too much about that situation. Now I'm getting some reports. The audio is overlapping, which is interesting, but we might have to roll with it a little bit here. So we'll see. Let's see how it goes. Eventually, my face is going to get smaller on the screen anyway, so don't stress too much about it. So let's dive into the big announcement. What is the big announcement? So we've been working for a very long time on something we think is unique, valuable, and will be super useful for everybody. And that is this idea of certifications. Now, I say certifications. What does certifications mean? Could be all kinds of things. Now, as a TouchDesigner developer, and really I think any developer in our industry, not specifically focused on TouchDesigner, but you know, we're a lot of TouchDesigner developers here. So how many times have you told somebody, I'm a TouchDesigner developer, and then they look at you and say, what does that actually mean? You know, do you know how to do the audio stuff? Do you know how to do SOPs? Do you know how to do Python? Do you know how to do GLSL? There's just so many different pieces of that TouchDesigner puzzle that it really becomes, it's almost like you say you're a creative technologist and someone's like, what does that even mean? Like, that could literally mean anything. I feel like that is similarly applicable to TouchDesigner. And if you're on the employer side of things, or you know, you've ever gone out to try and get some help on the TouchDesigner, you know, like project you're working on or installation, I can tell you firsthand experience on both sides of this table that it becomes very difficult to ask people what they know and what they don't know, especially if you know exactly what your project is. You know, I need somebody who does render picking, or I need somebody that can do like these really good Python scripts to connect to a web API, or I need somebody who can do some procedural geometry or particles. Like, those are kind of very different skill sets. And you know, the cool thing about our community is that a lot of people do have the overlap with those skill sets. But from an employer perspective, you're trying to like get somebody on this project, you have no idea like what these people are doing. So we're hoping that this certifications that I'm going to show you in a second up on screen here, and we're going to give you a little quick tour of them, is a step in the right direction for everybody here. And the big idea is that we have these certification streams, and each one is based on some kind of core competency inside of TouchDesigner, and we'll also be launching non-TouchDesigner based certifications in the future too. And you basically have to learn a bunch of material, study a bunch of material, go through a pretty big exam. I'd say big exam because they're usually about 100 minutes, so like an hour and 40 minutes to get through an exam. It's got a big chunk of it that's a theoretical portion, or theory portion of the exam, where you're going through, you know, getting asked a lot of questions that on the knowledge of the topic and the theory behind it and the concepts of it. And by the end, you then hit a practical section, and in that practical section, you gotta put the what's the expression? Pedal to the metal is one of them. I was gonna say you gotta put the hand in the paint, and then I realized that literally makes no sense. Put the money where the mouth is. You know, if you know the expressions I'm reaching for here, throw them in the chat if you don't mind. But you know, rubber meets the road. That's the one I was looking for. Thank you, Patchy. Yeah, you know, rubber meets the road, pen to paper. Put your nodes where your mouth is. I like all these, are all fantastic. So that's kind of what happens in the practical portion. You're given a set of requirements and criteria that you have to meet. You go through and basically build a project, upload it, and then this exam gets sent to us. We go through, our teachers, we grade it. We look through the theoretical part, the theory part. We go through the practical part. We do all that. And then based on pass or fail, you're either awarded that certification, which I'll talk about the actual what's awarded in a second, or really not much negative happens. You know, you can take the test twice in a month if you fail once. Otherwise, if you fail again on the second time, you come back in about 30 days and you can do it again. No harm, no foul. So what do you actually get? And you know, we'll talk about all. I'll share my screen in just a moment to show y'all the goodness. But we really wanted this to be something that can be used like across the industry in general, and not just like some specific thing. So we went with all of the open badge specifications, which if you've ever done a Udemy course or a Udacity course, or really almost any online learning platform these days is using that open badge specification. there's a lot of great things about it, but a few of the highlights. One, it's not just an image. You don't just get handed out like a little weird little piece of paper with a fake digital signature on it. You don't get handed out like an image that says like, here, put this on there. These are real kind of technology situations behind these open badges. So not only are they all logged in, we're using the platform called Badger, but they're all kind of interchangeable. Gets logged in that platform. They're all time-stamped. They come with metadata. They're verifiable, so actually nobody could ever go and fake one because it literally takes one click to check if it's a real badge or not. That's been awarded by us, and all that metadata shows up. So there's a lot of kind of really cool tech infrastructure running that makes this useful. And then the nice thing is that the open badge specification, because it's so popular and prevalent across all these learning platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, your social medias, your CVs, there are going to be a lot of ways that it's going to be really easy to just integrate these things right into wherever you're showing off your work, including our job board, which if you haven't gone to yet, it's new and free and really good. So, we'll post some links in the chat for that shortly. So I think that's the main talking points, I believe. And I'll talk about all the other parts of it. And it's not an NFT. I guarantee you, it's not an NFT. But I like where the minds are going in the chat. So I think with that said, probably the best thing I can do real quick to actually just like get through this announcement, and then we can have a little bit of fun. So let me share my screen here, and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. And this is where tabs. I don't know how you guys live with so many tabs. It's actually, and I don't know if anyone else has this situation. I feel like the more monitors I get, the more claustrophobic the screens get. Like when I had one monitor, it's like one big monitor, you put the thing on it, you're working on it, then it goes away. Now I got like a thing here, like I don't know about this situation. But I digress. I am capable of screen sharing. We have the technology. We have the technology. Check, mic check. Okay, I think the mic level should still be good. We're hopeful. Great, so let me walk you through this real quick. Let me show you what we're talking about. For those of you who have never actually checked out the HQ Pro, this is kind of what it looks like. This is our online learning platform. So that's like a little double whammy. You'll get to see the certification, but also a little behind the scenes tour of what the HQ Pro looks like. You come into your resource pages and you've got a lot of good stuff to work with. So the new one here is the certification programs, which I'll show you in a second, but maybe if you've never seen the HQ Pro before, you got the big section of video courses and training. This is kind of like the meat and potatoes and broccoli of the situation, which is just tons and tons of incredibly specific techniques, trainings, basically trying to cover as much of the spectrum of skills that you're going to need to succeed as a touchdown developer. You can see we got stuff from video signals, connecting with MIDI, advanced Python stuff, how to spec a PC. That's always a big challenge for people, is what parts do I need to make a PC, or how much power do I need, machine learning, etc., etc. There's so many pages of trainings at this point that I'm not even going to get to the end. You've also got kind of like all of our really great holistic and auxiliary features, how to get to the Facebook group where we're helping everybody answer questions every day and giving guidance, how to get your profile onto our job board, all of our plug and play tools. I know I'm like reading the screen because there's so many features. I sometimes forget like all the features. Everyone gets a 15-minute SOS call where like if it's an emergency, they can just call me and I'll like help them. They also have the whole archive of our group coaching calls, because every 2 weeks we do a really fun Zoom meeting where all the members of the HQ Pro can join. You guys are asking questions, and then we're having a conversation to figure out like how to best solve those problems. And on top of that, the cool thing is we have a full archive of them, so it's almost there's a lot in here, because twice a month is almost 2 years now, I think, maybe a year and a half. This also like pages and pages here too. And then you're going to see here the TouchDesigner Operation Foundations. Ooh, I'm going to tell you about what that means in a second, but there's the exam right there. So let's talk about our certification programs first of all. Now, today was really interesting as we're launching the first one, which is the TouchDesigner Operations Foundations. And this is really the catch-all base level foundation certification, really. You know, like this is how to actually operate TouchDesigner. What do the 6 families of operators do? You know, just basic workflow improvements that people should be using, how to access help documents, wiki, op snippets, like all of that kind of really foundational, even before you get started doing anything type of knowledge. That's what's tested on inside of this one. But what you can see is we've been working hard behind the scenes. We actually have a lot of certifications very close to being launched. So we've got GLSL foundations, we've got different content inputs, Python specialized certifications, interactivity like building user interfaces. I mean, it really goes on, like, you know, some basic industry management stuff, architecture of projects, integrations with Ableton and Notch and all these kind of things. So we got a lot of really cool certifications coming out. But the first one we're going to focus on, first one, TouchDesigner Operation Foundations. So you come in here, you get a little bit of a start here message, just talking a little bit about, okay, what's in here? What do you expect? What's the process? How much time is it going to take? Then you kind of start going through, and what happens is you just go through all of the training materials you need to actually, well, not only be successful as a TouchDesigner operator or kind of get your first foundation planted inside a TouchDesigner, but also everything that you're going to need for this exam. And you're going to go through about 7 hours of video content here, which is, I'm telling you folks, there's a lot of stuff in here. So you're going to go about through 7 hours of content, and then eventually you're going to get to the exam at the end. Exam is really straightforward. Everything's integrated right in our platform. You go to it, begin. It tells you all the rules, you know, how many times you can take the exam, retakes, how long it takes, all that good stuff. You fill in your name, you hit your email address, you hit go, boom, you're dropped right into the exam and you get going. So now let me tell you a little bit about what you actually get here, which is this little bad boy, TouchDesigner Operations Foundations. The little badge, and that, like I said, is an open badge compliant specification of badge. So our platform called Badger sends you an email, you accept it, it gets added to your backpack where you can collect all of your kind of different badges, not only from what we're making, but like I said, if you've been working on courses on Udemy or Udacity or any of these kind of learning platforms, they're all going to support this open badge, and they've probably already awarded you a couple of open badges that you can kind of collect into your backpack. That almost becomes like a portfolio of your, whether it's professional training or secondary learning resources. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Now, with that said, the only other thing, I mean, there's a lot here, and we'll come back and talk about this a little bit more in the middle of the show. But this is something that is not, you know, you don't have to pay $200 or $300 to like do these exams. All you have to do is join the HQ Pro. These certifications are part of the HQ Pro, so once you're in there, there's no extra cost, especially to do this first TouchDesigner Operation Foundation certification. So we've already got, I think 13 or 14 people have already gone through and passed the exam, because we soft launched internally to HQ Pro members last week, and just over that kind of week and a half, I guess maybe, yeah, probably a week and a half. Over that week and a half, 13 people have gone through, passed, already awarded the certification. Congrats to you folks that have done it. So, where does this leave us? 2 important things. Well, maybe 1 important thing. I'm not really sure the number of important things. I'm just going to start rattling them off. Officially, we're launching these on Sunday. So if you're here, you do get a little bit of a treat, which is I'm going to post a link in the chat in a moment that gives you 50% off of your first month in the HQ Pro. That's just a nice little special promotion we're running as a part of the launch of the certifications, and that's going to last only until, so it starts on this Sunday, and then it goes till next week's Saturday. So it's a 1-week promotion, and because you guys are here and you're chilling, I'm going to give you early access to that promotion if you wanted to take advantage of it, just so that you can, you know, cram on the weekend or have a nice little activity you can do on the weekend. That link I'm going to drop in the chat is going to take you to this page. You can listen to me talk for a while about all the cool features, but you can also just scroll through and see, you know, what's the HQ Pro really about? What are all the different things that I'm getting? Because we think, you know, it's a very, very, very high amount of value that you're getting in a single kind of package, which I think is pretty amazing. I mean, if I was younger, this would be like my jam. I would be up in here all the time. Let me just tell you that. There's the information you need to know. So I'll send this link in the chat now. And by all means, if you have any questions about kind of what I'm talking about with our certifications here, let me pull up the chat and see what y'all. Let me see what y'all are saying. Because unfortunately, with all the monitors, I only actually have one working monitor, so I can't see the chat as I was doing all that. So let me see what you folks are saying. Everyone's ripping on me about the tabs. There are really good tab managers. Refresh tabs every day. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing the tabs. I can't do it. Install a new browser and start creating tabs there, says Greg. That accurate. Great. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of our certifications. I'm super excited. We'll keep telling you guys more about that. You'll probably start getting a email or two coming this week, starting on Sunday, I imagine, that tells you all about the details, why you might want to take these certifications, what kind of benefits they're given to you. But we're really excited to launch those. We're hoping that from the talent side of things, really helps you guys show and prove that you know some skills. And especially, like, you know, I think maybe folks have this misconception that when you're bidding on a project or somebody's thinking about hiring you for a project, you know, the person who gets it is way, way, way higher than the person who doesn't get it. But in a lot of time, like, these decisions are very small decisions. Very small factors are what are making the changes in, like, who's getting hired for a gig. So we're hoping that things like these really help you, give you that little extra step to get over the hump and say, hey, you know what? Well, we have these two candidates all around pretty equal, but one of them has gone through all of these kind of real tests and examinations process and has proven that they know very specific parts of TouchDesigner that we're kind of interested in. So we're hoping that that helps you with that. Oh, hey folks, did I miss the big announcement? Rob, I think a little bit, but that's okay. Don't worry. I'll come back and do another kind of like mini announcement, like, you know, after we get into some of this game show stuff, and then don't worry. So you haven't missed it. As long as you're hanging out for a little bit, you'll get the announcement again. So that's what on the talent side. On the employer side, you know, if you're out there and you are looking at hiring TouchDesigner developers and you've always been kind of worried that you don't know who you're getting and what kind of skill sets you're getting when you're reaching out to folks, hopefully this helps you on that end of things, where you can say, hey, you know what? I want somebody who's done this certification process because I know for a fact that they've been tested on these skills. They know how to do these things. So with that said, I'm going to need a sip of water after that. That was quite the spiel. Warm water, delicious, absolutely delicious. Okay, so actually, oh, I forgot. I got to put the link in the chat. Hold on, let me put the link in the chat here for the promotion so you guys can check it out, learn more. There it is, iihq.tv/touchcert. So that'll get you to the page. It'll tell you all about it. So even if actually, and yeah, Rob and folks, if you are joining a little bit late, by all means, you can hop on that, watch a quick little video, see what we're talking about there. Lots more details. I'm just like speaking words. The properly organized thoughts are on that page. So we're really looking forward to it. And some of the stuff we're going to be doing today with the game show is kind of inspired by the certification style tests and the theory part of it. And I've picked out some questions from a bunch of the different certification exams. So you guys can also get like a fun feel about like what kind of questions are on there. So this, you know, if you're looking to get the badge, this is that, you know, good preparation, if you know what I'm saying. It says testimonials, private videos. Is that normal? Probably not. No, I have to fix that. It's a long story. I'll fix it though. Don't worry. We'll get there in a second. In the meantime, there's testimonials. There's real ones. People say it's good, you know, not just me. So with that said, let's dive into a couple questions here, you know, because I'm getting a bit. Oh, we got a question. Sorry if you said it and I missed it. Any idea when the next certification are planned to go live? Yeah, we're trying to release them probably as quickly as we can, really. So we got the first one that's releasing now. We'll give people a few weeks to kind of get into it. Probably hit the next one there, maybe one or two kind of every few weeks. So really depends on how everything goes with adoption and just making sure that our infrastructure we set up is stable and working well and we're able to handle the workload of marking on and grading all the exams. But yeah, I mean, most of them are ready, so we're just making sure things don't roll out too quickly. So with that said, very soon, very soon. So let's dive into some fun here. Let's have a little bit of fun. I got some good questions for you. I think some of them are gonna be easy. We're gonna start with the easy ones because you gotta like warm it up a little bit, Then we're gonna get to some medium ones, and medium ones should be all right for most people. But hey, this starts to get into what we're talking about. How's your Python feeling? How's your SOP knowledge feeling? You're gonna get a lot of different angles here, and then we're gonna get into the hard stuff. Then we're gonna get into that meaty goodness. So. Let's get started. Now, if you do want to take part directly in the polls, we're going to be running those as Twitch polls. So if you're watching on YouTube, by all means, you feel free, and actually YouTube and Twitch, feel free to shout your answers in the chat also, because I just want to see them fly by. Now, but if you do want to actually like click buttons and like have a vote registered, hop on over to Twitch. I'll put a link in the chat for all the folks out on YouTube, so that if you want to come join us on the Twitch side of things, by all means, come join us. It's both platforms are great. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. You know what I'm saying? So let's do it. Let's get our first poll riled up here. Let me cue it up. So here's how we're gonna do this situation. I have a Google Doc. It's got all the questions and answers in it. Mr. Grenade says, "Oh my God, he's live. Was just watching you. I'm touch designing." Oh, great! Thank you for joining us, my friend. I'm happy you could come out, and we're gonna have some fun. We're doing some quiz stuff. Let's dive into it. So here's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna hit the Twitch poll button. I'm gonna copy and paste questions and answers in there. I'm gonna set a time limit of 2 minutes, and we got some options. I think 2 minutes sounds like it might be a good one. I'm gonna hit the go button. Then you're gonna see it on the screen. And I'm going to start reading out the question. Then you got 2 minutes to put in the answer. Then I'm going to talk about the question and answer a little bit. So let's dive in here. Let me pull up my little question document. Let me fire off a poll here. Let's see if this I've never done a Twitch poll, so this will be fun for everybody. And we're going to start with a real easy one. I think you'll like this one. Here's my A. Okay, here we go, folks. Duration 2 minutes. Start poll. I'm gonna hit view results. I want to see the results coming in live. Okay, now let me read out the question. What is an operator? Is it A, an individual node in the network? It's supposed to say in the network, but I guess there must be a... Oh, this is brutal. It cuts off... Oh, God, no, that doesn't like show the full answers. Okay, don't worry. We'll deal with this. Okay, so it's either an individual node network, a tool created using many nodes in the network, a TouchDesigner project, or a layer of your TouchDesigner network. So okay, we might have to already like switch up the plan a little bit here, because a lot of them are going to get cut off if that's how Twitch is going to run these polls and like chop off my answers. Okay, so we're almost there. We're in the home stretch here on the time. Let me get my chat up here. Alpha Moonbase is asking, no patch with the Twitch API. It's been a busy week, so I figured if I can lean into the things they've already built, then that would be nice. But it seems like there's a hilariously low limit on the number of characters you can put in there, which is, come on, like of all the things to limit the number of characters for an answer. So we'll get around this. So far, though, let me tell you, so far I'm seeing a lot of good answers here, which is surprising because the answers are all chopped off. So even better, even more power to you folks. So I think we can end this one. Let's end it. No, it's about to run out. We'll let it run out. The last votes are coming in. Are we certified after completing this? I think you just might be. You just might be. Okay, so I think I know what you're seeing. Right answer was an individual node network. That's what an operator is. So let's hit the next one. Let's see if we can get some Galaxy Brain confirmations here. And let me see if what can I do about these answers? How can I make these better? New poll. Okay, here's what I think let's try next question. Still an easy one. We're just getting a feel for it, you know, like working up just the littlest bit of sweat, you know, under the armpits situation. But here's what I think I'm going to do. I'm going to put the question on the poll. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put A, B, C, and D, and I'm going to put the answers in the chat, A, B, C, and D. Okay, let's give that a shot. Let's give it a shot. So let me see here. How do you move? Oh, I shouldn't read out the question out loud as I'm saying it. Okay, actually, you know what? This one will fit in. This one will fit. You know, maybe we can make it fit. I'll kind of like edit the answers as I go along and just make them shorter. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Next question. How do you move an operator around the network? How do you do it? Is it A, left click and drag, B, middle click and drag, or C, right click and drag? Tricky, 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 he says. Tricky, tricky, tricky. What do we got, folks? What do we got? What's the answers here? Ooh, we got an interesting. We got two different answers so far. We got a lot of left click and drags. We got one right click and drag. No middle click and drags. Hopefully that doesn't mean everyone's a laptop user working on the trackpad. That's what I hope it doesn't mean, but we'll find out. Oh, we got a middle click and drag. Oh, yikes. Middle click and drag. Now, in the meantime, as we're going through these questions, by all means, throw more questions up in the chat because, you know, we're having a good time. I can get some of your questions in there. And as we get, you know, this is still the warm-up. As we get some of the medium questions, some of the harder questions, I'll actually be talking about what those are, what they mean, especially for, there's some good tricky ones near the end. Let me catch up on chat here. What do we got? 100% discount for Twitch members, hopefully. This is the first gym leader, that's for sure. Yeah. This is like, I can't remember. Was it Misty or Brock that you did first? I can't remember. Alpha Moonbase is saying display the answers as stream overlay and only have A, B, C, D in the Twitch window. Yeah, I think that might be. I think that's where we're going. Let's see here. We're almost at the end of voting, folks, on this one. They have extensions. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so left click and drag wins. That is the correct answer on this one. Middle click and drag does not move your operators around. Right click and drag does not move your operators around. Not in any kind of sane way. So we got trackball users. That's what I like to hear. Connect for live. RealSense, anyone? Maybe. I like RealSense. RealSense is good. What ops are required to make the geo render out? Ooh, that's a good question. I can't remember if I have that on this one, but that's a good question. Brock was the first one, right? Okay, I thought so. What operator snippet is missing is a poll question, says Rob. That's a spicy poll question. Oh, and Patrick's saying, trackball ruins my thumb. I've moved to vertical mouse. Some have buttons right where your thumb sits that I map to scrolling. Oh, interesting. That's a good one. I've been looking at those. Patchy, do you also have the Kinesis keyboard that like breaks apart? Kind of been eyeing one of those. Where can you find the Space Mouse settings? Probably in the, listen, this is my personal take, in the garbage where the Space Mouse belongs. No, I'm joking though. I know a lot of folks who love the Space Mouse, but I am just not a Space Mouse kind of guy. So, with that said, let's dive into the next question here. Let's dive in. And I think we're gonna do the A, B, C, D situation this time. New poll. Let's do it. New poll. Question. A, B, C. Okay, are you ready for this one? Are y'all ready? Do y'all feel a little bit of heat? Like, do you feel a little bit of heat? Kind of just in that chest area? They're going to get harder. Don't worry. These questions are going to get harder. Important course missing. Setting a PC specs for a permanent TouchDesigner installation. Yeah, that's one that's definitely on our list. You know, we can't do everything all at once. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Hopefully, I think we have a couple of YouTube videos that talk about it. And we've had a couple of like really good community members go over some of these things. So there are some resources out there. I'm in Minnesota. I don't feel any heat. Oh, bro, I know. I feel it. I literally have a blanket like on the lower half of me right now. So let's dive into this one. Okay, so I'm gonna give it 2 minutes, and then you're gonna have to give me a second to paste the answers. You know what I'm saying? Okay, here we go. Stop trying to hit me and hit me. I like that's a good one. Hey, Matrix 1. I don't know if you all know, like one of the few times I get to watch movies is on like airplanes, which means that because of COVID I haven't seen a movie in like 18 months almost. But you know what? Matrix 1 on an airplane always pops off. You could watch Matrix 1 on an airplane and like by the end you're like ready to like run around the airplane, and it's like which is not appropriate on an airplane, but like I'm just saying that's what it is. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Starting the poll. Question. I want to put the question. I'll say the question. How do you select multiple operators at once? A, B, C, or D? So now A. Right-click and drag from the network background. B. Middle-click and drag from the network background. C. Left-click and drag from the network background. What do we think? How do we select multiple operators at once? How do we select multiple operators at once was the question, sorry. That should be up on screen. Oh, we got a lot of A's. I like that, I like that, I like that. We got a lot of A's, we got a lot of A's. Got a C in there, interesting. Alpha Moonbase says, funny how I cannot answer this from the back of my head. I know, no, it's a tricky one, my friend. Don't feel shy about that one. That's what, you know, and the certification, I'll say, these aren't easy tests. You know, it doesn't matter even if you're extremely experienced. Going through the study materials is still like a good thing to do. Because we do check. These aren't like easy passes where you're just like, oh yeah, like phone it in, like got my cert, time to go home. You know, you're going to be asked a lot of questions, and you have to hit a 75% on the theory before you actually even pass. So A, and just I'll repeat it out loud. So how do you select multiple operators at once? A, right-click and drag from the network background. B, middle-click and drag from the network background. Or C, left-click and drag starting from the network background. Polyhub, my friend, I see you there. He does what I do, which is he had to imagine doing it and then like watch, you know, like 4-dimensional chess watch himself. Skywalker Visual Studio, what is going on here at all? We're doing a live game show situation today. Latency again. Okay, let me try and I'll just turn my camera mic situation off again. It seemed to do the trick last time. Okay, after you see a bunch of black frames go on and on, hopefully you'll see the audio line back up. We're back. Yeah, sound was cut for a second, then I had to delay again. Yeah, it is a weird, I don't know. I need a new computer, I think. It probably doesn't help that my laptop sits on a power conditioner. I feel like that's like the worst place you can put a laptop. It is what it is, you know? So, A was the correct answer on that. Right-click and drag, starting from the network background, is how you get multiple operators selected. So I know it's still easy. Don't worry. You know, we give our friends a little bit of warm up time. Okay, here let's just hop right into the next question. Let's hop right into the next one. This one I'm hoping I can just do right on, because this is the hotkeys. Yeah, you're gonna get quizzed on hotkeys too. You got to know the hotkeys. Now the only annoying thing is the question's really long, and the answers are really short. This is good. Hold on, let me get this set up here. But yeah, this hotkeys questions, you got to know them hotkeys. You can't pretend. And because I always say, and this is a personal preference, but also I think a good professional thing to think about. If you are still doing the mouse wheel scroll in and out of comps, my friend, let me have a moment with you. This is a moment for us to talk. You got to stop that. You got to use U and I. You got to use those hotkeys. They're just so much faster. The scrolling thing is, I know, it feels good. We kind of came to TouchDesigner and we're like, oh, I like the thing it does. But, you know, we got to work together on this situation. I know the zooming in and out is what impresses the clients, you know. I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'm too lazy to put my other hand on the keyboard, so I'm just kind of, you know, zooming. But really, come on, folks. Deep in our hearts here. Deep in our hearts. Don't do it. So, let me see here. How am I going to do this? Okay, I'm going to put the question, network. Okay, I'll put a mini question. All the answers are on the Twitch. And then I'm just going to read out the full version of the question for you. Okay, so are you ready? Are you ready? Let's do it. What is the hotkey to recenter your network editor on all the operators in the current network? Is it C, H, R, or N? C, H, R, or N? I see people still saying U and I. Oh, True Fiasco's got a good one. U and I are mapped to middle mouse wheel, click left and right. That's a pretty cool one. I could see that being good. I got some F's. I got some H's. Oh, we got a lot of, this one's a lot of folks coming onto the H train here. What do we think? Nobody's got a N or R as their choice? Nothing? Get a real kind of, what do you call it, monolithic vote here. No, I should say, and Pat is saying, how do you zoom within that layer of the network? Though, no, I think that kind of zoom is fine. But it's the one where you zoom past that, and you just keep going till the network is like this tiny part of like the screen, and then it like jumps up a network. That one, I think, my friends, come on, my friends, you know. What's the difference between F and H? That's a good question. These are deep philosophical situations here. So now I'm seeing a lot of people saying like how they've what do they call it? What do you call it when you trick out your setup? I'm seeing a lot of tricked out setups of like mouses remapped to keyboards and situations, which I'm if I had the resource and the energy still, I probably would. But these days, as vanilla as possible is how I like to do it. Okay, so questions over. H was the right one. Remember, if you need to recenter, think home. I want to go home. H, home, bam, 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 recenter everything. Cool, let's go on to the next one. What do we got here? We only got a few more easy ones. They're just a few. You know what? Actually, nah, you guys are too good at this. Now we're going into some of the tricky ones. Let's just pop it off right now. Let's see. Because you guys talking big. And let's see if you can deliver. So here we go. What's the next? This next one's a good one. This is a real Python. Get your Pythons out. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? This one's going full on. Everything. This is a magical one. The answers fit on the Twitch poll. The question fits on the Twitch poll. Let's go. Can you have an if statement without an else statement? Yes or no? That's it, simple. Yes or no. No trick question here. Can you have an if without an else? Or do you need the else? They call them if-else statements. What are we thinking here? What are we thinking here? Well, maybe depending on the needed statement. That's true. But imagine, more as a technical question, can an if exist without an elf. Not an if without an elf, an if without an else. But can you have an else without the if? That's the 200 IQ question we got from Jason here. If and elf statements. That's what I'm going to call them from now. You know, I feel like that's the computer science equivalent to people saying, "Can I ask you a question?" Is my if elf statement. You know, I feel like those things are related. Else on a shelf. Accurate. Conditional statements. Okay, so we're getting to, I think this one, you know what, I might end this one early because I thought this was going to be a little bit of medium, but you guys are popping off. Is 100%. We're ending that one. You guys 100% got that one. Easy. GG easy. Okay, let's move on then. Let's get a couple. Here we go now. Ooh, this is good. This is good. You know, if anything where it starts talking about optimization, that's my goodness. That's my goodness. So here comes the next question at you. And as these questions go on, they're gonna get, you know, they're getting trickier. But by all means, the topics are also going to become more interesting. So if there's something that you want to know about one of these kind of questions, by all means, throw your question in the chat. I'm watching all them chats. Let's see here. Jason saying your audience is highly targeted. I don't think a non-TD user has stumbled in. Could be, but you know, we'll see soon enough once these questions start getting harder if this targeted audience of only TouchDesigner developers is going to be able to do them. Here we go. Starting. Okay. Do SOPs calculate their results? Oh, I realized that. Okay, hold on. I didn't copy and paste the right thing. It says, do SOPs calculate the results on the CPU or the GPU? And I realized the answers I have GPU, CPU, storage, and all of the above. Here we go, folks. What do you think? CPU, SOPs, GPU, those 3D modeling, you know, it's GPU, CPU. Is it storage? Is it all of the above? Could it be? How do we feel? What if you got an APU? Reboot into Windows. That's the real. If you got an APU, reboot into, you know, what is it called? Boot camp up into Windows. That's what it is. Okay, this one. Okay, you guys are popping off. You guys are. Okay, I'm gonna end this one too. I think we got this one. It's easy. Okay. You guys are okay. Here, let me try this. What about this one? Don't worry. I am confident you will be stumped today. You will be stumped. It's just I don't want to jump all the way to the stumpers yet because I want to see where the stumpening is what I'm going to call it. I want to see where the stumpening happens. Okay, here we go. Next question coming up. Okay, are you ready for this one? This one should be a good one. Okay, here we go. Next one coming up. Want to bet True Fiasco, want to bet a month's subscription to the Interactive Immersive HQ? Maybe, bro, maybe. I like that. I like the approach, though. I like the approach. Here we go. In what order does the particle SOP emit particles? Is it A, by primitive number, B, by vertex number, C, by point order, or D, randomly? How does the particle SOP emit particles? What is it based on? Points, vertices, primitives, Ooh, we're starting to see. Hey, maybe this. I don't know if the stumpening's happening, but we're getting a little bit more of we're getting some discrepancies in answers here at least now. You know what I'm talking about? Hello, Amir. Thanks for joining us, my friend. Thanks everybody for joining us. I see all you folks up in the chat. I see y'all. Ooh, we got a. This is a. Ooh. Okay, I think it's starting to. We're starting to get the little bit of a little harder vibe. I like it. I like it. I wouldn't say harder, but you know, we're getting some mixed opinions here. The stumpening has begun, I think, says David. I like this. I like this. I like what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing too many more votes in it. I'm gonna set these to 2 minutes, but I might just end them early so we can like get through more questions, you know? So I'm gonna end this one. Ooh, we got the chats popping up. Chat's got some different opinions here. We're gonna end the poll. Whew. Point order is the winner there. Point order is the correct one, and you can think to yourself. Remember, if you're using something like a sort stop and you're sorting your points before they go into the particle, setting those orders to random, that's always a good way to think about it. Ooh, these are gonna. I'm feeling the warmth now. I'm feeling a little bit of warmth. How about this? Let's keep it on the little. Let's keep it on this technical side of things. You know what I'm talking about? And actually, these are good ones because now we're starting to get a good. As I scroll down further, the questions are shorter, and the answers are equally short. So this is working out. This is working out. You know, the pantheon in our favor is what I say about it. Okay, here we go. And yeah, Patchy and Polyhop are having a good one. The proper response to any question about particle stop is use GPU particles. Hey, I don't disagree, but you know, you got to know both sides of that playing field. Okay, so here we go. Here's the next question coming up. How much frame time do you have in milliseconds for 60 FPS project? Is it A, 60 milliseconds, B, 30 milliseconds, C, 16 milliseconds, or D, 33 milliseconds? Ooh, some magic number questions, you know? This is the equivalent of like if you're doing IT stuff and they're like, what does port 80 do? Or like, what is port 4434? I got a 6,000 in the chat. I like that one. It definitely. I wish it was 6,000. That would really make my life so much easier. We got 60. Ooh, Ravinan is saying he's beginning to guess. Don't worry, my friend. That's okay. These questions are gonna get tricky. You know, it's okay to guess. I know. Okay, I know. Tisk. Greg's saying it's floating point. I know, but you know, we're just trying to keep it simple here. Okay, no, I know. I see some folks in the chat. 16 plus 2/3. Okay, listen, I know, but we're keeping it simple. You know, we're keeping it simple here. Ooh, you guys, folks are starting to get a little bit unsure here. Yeah, to Patchy's point, I probably couldn't fit the digits if I wanted to with how quickly these things truncate my answers. Okay, cool. We've seen some. So the correct answer on this one, I'm gonna end this one too. I'm seeing the votes are slowing down here. The bottom 10 of the quiz end up in the Hunger Games is what I'm seeing in the chat. Watch out, folks. I like that. That's good. That's incentives. So we got 16 milliseconds. That is the correct answer. We had some folks put 60 milliseconds. Don't forget, frame time is the amount of milliseconds it takes to render a frame, and 60 frames per second is your target. And you can do some nice math, like the folks are saying in there, that basically ends up, it's actually 16.66666 milliseconds, you know, to the infinity. So, oh, David's heading out. Thank you, my friend, for joining us. Take it easy. We'll see you in the next one. So good work, folks. 16 milliseconds. Remember, FPS versus milliseconds is always a tricky one. I think I have a question on, I can't remember if it's in this, if for our game show today, but VSync and Hertz versus FPS. A lot of times these things, they're similar but different enough. So let's see, let's get the next question up in here. Actually, we'll do one more question, and then we'll do a quick little break here. Ooh, what is this one? I like this one. Ooh, I got some codec questions coming up. Okay, check this poll out. Let's see what this one is. Okay, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Are you ready? What kind of cooking system does TouchDesigner use? Is it A, push-based cooking? Is it B, reactive cooking? C, pull-based cooking? D, smart cooking? What do we think here? What are we cooking? And oven cooking is this should have been the fifth one. Oven cooking. What do we think here? We got a lot of heat on pull-based right now. Ooh, interesting. Microwave, no idea, bro. See, I told you guys we're starting to get into some intermediate, medium questions here. So if you're new and you're kind of just getting on your TouchDesigner journey, don't feel bad. These are starting to get into that kind of like intermediate, on the higher end of questions here. I like half the city of Minneapolis says, "How is yes not an option?" Alpha Moonbase, WTF is smart cooking. Greg saying, it's both actually. I know, Greg, but the main, the main thought process of it. Polyhop, smart cooking is what you as the developer need to do. Yeah, that's definitely right. What is the cooking system pulling from? I think from the eternity of time itself, Alpha Moonbase, we could probably argue the reactive cooking here, to be honest. I feel it, bro. I feel it. Amir saying pull-based. Okay, interesting. So we had a lot more alignment on this one. A lot more pull-based cooking, so good work, everybody. That is the right answer. I thought that was going to stump a couple people, but y'all must be good on that stuff. Let's try this one. Although now I'm starting to get worried. This one might have, I'm hoping the question doesn't get cut off. Question is totally cut off. I'm going to have to shorten the question. What Okay, here we go. I'm shortening the question. The chat is poll-based. I like it. Aren't chop-ins also push-based? Says True Fiasco. That's a good question. Let's see here. What do I got here? Let's see. Okay. Here comes the next one. I want to see. I'm curious about this one. Which codec equals small file sizes, higher CPU load? Is it A, HAP family? Is it B, QuickTime.mov? Is it C, H.264? Or D, animation codec? Ooh, we got some folks going in on the HAP. We got some folks going in on H.264. Ooh, which one is it? Oh, we got a lot of folks coming in for H.264s. Someone please notice my pun, says Orvorgus. Which pun was it? Hold on, I'll scroll up. The chat is poll-based. I thought I did. Okay, I thought I did. I got it. The chat is poll-based. I like that one. We got some, and I could see where a little bit of the confusion comes from this one. I got some folks mentioning, I thought H.264 is on the NVIDIA cards. It can be. It can be. I'll give you folks a few more seconds to answer this one. Which codec equals small file sizes, higher CPU load? HAP, QuickTime.mov, H.264, animation codec. Whew. Half the city of Minneapolis says, well, see you guys in the Hunger Games. Don't worry, no Hunger Games here. We're just having a good time. And if you are feeling like this is going to be a good segue, you know, this is going to be a good segue right now I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to end this one. I think the voting slowed down here. So the winner, H.264, correct. Good work, crew, on that one. H.264. Now, and what Alpha Moonbase was saying in the chat, I believe it was you saying that. Yeah, so you can do H.264 encode and decodes on a lot of the NVIDIA GPUs, but the original design of H.264 is very much small file sizes, higher CPU load. And you know what a good thing is in this case, what would have tipped you off regardless is small file sizes. Because HAP and animation codec are gigantic files. HAP and animation codec, if someone says small file sizes, HAP and animation codec are not the ones that you want to do. And then the higher CPU load, even though HAP does have some CPU load, animation codec has CPU load. Remember, those are all ruled out because of small file sizes. And then the trick one was .mov. So that one is trying, and I'm glad nobody clicked on .mov. That was a trick question. That was the difference whether you know codec versus container. Because .mov is not a codec. .mov is the QuickTime container in which all different kinds of codecs can go into. So animation codec can go in .mov, HAP goes in .mov, H.264 can go in .mov. So I'm proud of the chat that nobody clicked on .mov. And for folks that clicked on HAP, maybe you got confused with the GPU kind of H.264 encoding and decoding. That's a bit newer, but good work. We still got a lot of folks on the H.264 train. And let me see, I got a couple questions in the chat. Rob saying, "Oh no, I failed the cert." No, don't worry, bro. You can get a couple wrong on the certification. That's all good. Let's see. Never tried HAP. HAP's a nice one. HAP is a really, the way to think about HAP is because hard drives are so cheap now and they're so fast, like especially if you get the NVMe types of PCIe storage, they're so what's the opposite of expensive? Affordable, and they have so much read speed that a lot of these new codecs like HAP and Notch LC, what they do is they don't really even compress the frames that much, and they keep the frames in a format that the GPU can do the decoding on. So whereas all of the frames inside of an H.264 get like crunched down into like the smallest file size possible, and then only, well, I shouldn't say only, well, normally the CPU is the one that has to decode them. Now, we've got NVIDIA's got some processes that let the GPU decode them and encode them. But with HAP, all that data goes straight from your hard drive, takes a little round trip through the CPU, lands on the GPU, and then GPU's doing all the work, or a lot of the work from there. They took her gerbs. I miss South Park. I gotta watch a little bit of South Park. Maybe I'll try and get a South Park in this one. Patchy's got a good link here. Watch this for which codec should I use? Oh, it gave me a pizza ad, and that's making me hungry. Patchy, how could you? And it's doing the thing where it won't let me skip the... Take care, Rob. We'll see you. Thanks for joining us. I'm still watching a pizza ad. Oh, this is a funny video. Oh, I like this. Yeah, people should... If it's Adult Swim, usually does good stuff. I like that. I thought it was going to be like a serious like breakdown video of like all the codecs that... Okay, so good work so far. So let me tell you, so now if you had some trouble with some of these stuffs so far, that's okay. Not everybody's on the pro end of things, not everybody's on the high intermediate, been using it for years. But one way you can get to the bottom of a lot of these things is joining the HQ Pro. Now let me tell you, we had our big announcement at the beginning of the stream. I know some folks we've had a little come and go in all of this stuff. But let me tell you, the big announcement, I'll do a much shorter version of the big announcement now, which is that we're launching the certification program. Our first certification program, the first TouchDesigner certification program, basically anywhere. And it's a really cool thing because what we do is we give you the pathways to really set yourself up in specific skill sets and specific kind of domains of working in TouchDesigner. And then at the end of each one of those certifications is a nice exam that really tests your theoretical knowledge of things and has a practical component. Our teachers grade those. You get a nice badge. There's a lot of good stuff in there. I'll share my screen real quick just to show you. What do we got here? Where's my screen? You know that thing when you go back to your screen that you're going to share and it's like not set up to share? That's the situation, but here we go. Dun, dun, dun. I love it. Every time it does it, I can just do dun, dun, dun. It's like, this is like, no spoilers, by the way. If you haven't seen Tenet yet, this is, I feel like I'm tenanting myself. You know what I'm talking about? Here's the HQ Pro. If you've never seen it, welcome. We'll give you a quick little tour here. And the certification programs are what I'm going to be focusing on for the next like minute or two. That's the new stuff. If you haven't seen the HQ Pro before, by all means, give it a try. Normally we have our 7-day free trial. Right now we're also going to have a really special promotion going on, which is going to give you 50% off your first month. And that's in honor of the launch of our certification programs. If you've never seen the HQ Pro before, let me tell you, it's hype. There's so much stuff in here. And you can see we've got courses that cover the whole wide gamut. Some of the new ones that we have included, which maybe some folks don't know about, which are super sick. Noah Norman just recently did one for how to build GLSL particle systems from scratch, as if you've never done this before. We got Python in Practice is a fun one. DMX control in TouchDesigner, which is a nice one I got to work with Hal Lovemelt on. We got virtual broadcast desks and remote broadcast that Matthew put together for us. Notch, Ableton, audio analysis. I mean, it's literally just pages and pages of materials, all of which fantastic stuff. All the extra stuff that you get in the HQ Pro, we got a private Facebook group. Myself and Matthew are in there every day, giving guidance, answering questions, anything under the sun you posted in there. We're going to do our best to make sure you're taken care of. We got our new job board, always good, jobs.interactiveimmersive.io. We got tools, we got stuff, we got coaching calls, we got all the good stuff in here. But let me talk about the certifications. That's what the big announcement is. This is really exciting because we spent a lot of time trying to define out a lot of the pathways inside of TouchDesigner. And the first one we're launching is what's called the TouchDesigner Operation Foundations. And this certification is really focused about a lot of the stuff that we've actually been asking so far, which is this fundamental core knowledge of how does TouchDesigner work? What are the hotkeys? What are the workflows? Where are the different resources? How do I use the resources to take advantage of them? As well as things like what are some of the workflow optimizations that a lot of pros are using, and how can I implement those into your workflow right from the beginning? You know, like, don't wait 3 years to find out that you can right-click on the output of an operator and have the op create dialog automatically pop up and wire the node for you. Like, don't wait till year 4 to like learn that trick. So that's what our certification is about, this first one that we're launching. You can see we got a lot of them planned. A lot of them are almost ready to go. GLSL foundations, Python mastery, TouchDesigner architecture and deployment of like building and dealing with large-scale projects, different integrations, interactivity like user interfaces. There's a lot of good stuff in here. And the way these all work is you dive in, you're going to have a little start section. It's going to tell you a little bit about the course, what to expect, how much time you're going to need to get through it. And then you're going to have materials, lots of materials, everything you're going to need, not only, in our opinion, to really lay the foundation of a great career for yourself, but also everything you're going to need to go to the exam and pass that with flying colors. So you go through it, you're going to see there's pages. I think it's about 6 or 7 hours of materials you got to go through. And then when you finally get to the end, you're treated with the how to take the exam page, gives you a link. You go to the link, lands you on the exam page, you hit begin exam, and this is like my version of like speed running. So I feel like I need a timer in the bottom corner with like the milliseconds running. This is me speed running through, telling you how the certs works. And you're gonna get here, it's gonna tell you the rules, how the exam works. You know, we tried to make it really as accessible as possible, so you're not paying, you know, $100, $200, $300 to like take a certification exam. All you need to do is join the HQ Pro. HQ Pro members have access to all of these, and especially right now with the TouchDesigner Operation Foundations that we've launched, it's totally free. And you can fail it even twice within a month without any consequence. The only thing you gotta do is after the second fail, you just gotta wait 30 days before you can take that test again. So you can just hop into the HQ Pro, you know, use the promo code that I'm gonna put in the chat for you guys in a moment. That's gonna give you 50% off your first month. You hop in there, you can do this exam for free, put that certification under your belt. And the cool thing is all of these certifications are open badge specification. So these aren't just like pretty little, you know, PNGs. You're not going to get an email that has a PNG at the end of it. After you've done the theory, after you've done the practical, after your exam's graded by our teachers and myself, you're actually awarded a digital badge just like Udemy, Udacity, all of these big learning platforms that you probably use to do like little off courses here and there. We have those same specification of badges. There's a whole technical infrastructure behind it. That means that employers can verify that these badges are real. Nobody can like, what's the word? Forge. I was gonna say nobody can Schoenberg an exam, and I was like, that's not the word you're looking for right now. Nobody can forge exam results because they're so easy to verify by anybody. And they're very easy to integrate into your social profiles, LinkedIn's, Facebook's, all that stuff, because open badges is kind of the standard for these digital badges online. So that's pretty hype also, and I'm going to send you a link to this site right now, because what we're doing is today is the public launch of them, of the certifications, and the first one being the one you can take now. We've been soft launched, well, we soft launched these to the HQ Pro members just over a week ago. We've had 13 people already go through the exam and pass it and get their certifications. Now we're opening it up to the public and letting you guys know, join the HQ Pro to do the certification. I'm going to drop a link in the chat to this page. So as of Sunday, starting on Sunday, but you can get the early access now. From Sunday till next week, Saturday, this 50% promo is going on. This page will tell you everything you need to know about it, about the HQ Pro, about the certs, all the things you're going to get as a part of this, and how to get that. So I'm going to put that in the chat. That's me speed running through telling you about the certs. There's a lot to say about them. It's hard to really like go through it quick. We're really excited. You know, this is something that I think a lot of both high-end folks, a lot of educators, a lot of companies have always really found was a missing thing in our community and industry, which is this idea of how do you prove somebody knows something? And if you're talent, how do you show off that you know certain skills better than other people? If you're hiring, how do you actually verify that the person you're hiring like knows to do the things that you need to do? So we're hoping that from all the different angles, this becomes like a really nice thing for everybody. Whew. Okay, so let me catch up on chat now. What do we got here? Ravinan saying subscribe to the HQ Pro, y'all. Thank you, my friend. Joining tomorrow. We'll see you in there. We're looking forward to it. Saeed's got to go. Thanks. This is fun. See you on Discord. We will see you all there, my friends. Badges should be motion graphics, GIFs, and if you have to print them, you make a flip book. Hey, don't tell the open badge specification, not me. But let's see what else we got. See you on the SOS call. Yes, by all means, feel free. Is it 30 days after you fail the first time or second time? We'll probably have to go with the second time on that one. But you know, if you do end up, you know, we're not like out here trying to like enforce law and order. We just want to make sure people don't like do the test 6 times in a row in like a week just to keep testing it until they pass. So if you do the first time and then it becomes like maybe 2 weeks and then you do the second time, if you fail again, you just send us an email. We'll work with you. We'll make sure everything is feeling good and feeling fair on that one. And a polyhop, great. So I'll need to convert them all to PNG myself. No, I'll send you the PNGs if you want, but they're just not that useful for anybody. True Fiasco saying should be the first to encourage extra study time. Yeah, I'll tell you. You know, these are not the super easy. These aren't even the beginner one. Like this TouchDesigner Operation Foundations. Even if you're an intermediate or advanced dev, you may want to just like, you know, put those materials on, put them on 2x, because there are a lot of very specific questions that are asked in there, and some of them are pretty tricky. Jeff is saying, I hope there is a community ethics / professional ethics badge. Yeah, I'd like to see that one come too. We have one kind of more business oriented kind of badge, which is the industry fundamentals, which will be about pitching projects, pricing projects, standard contracts, those kind of things. And then hopefully, excuse me, as we roll out more of these badges, we can open up some of these more interesting avenues. Vasily saying, did you mention the championship? No, don't worry. We got a big announcement. That's a secondary big. We can't put so many big announcements all in like one day. You know, we would take the internet down. Oh yes, Jean-Francois saying, will you put it here? I'm sorry, I forgot. I started reading chat before I realized I have to put the link that I said I was going to put into the chat. There it is. It's iihq.tv/touchcert. That will take you where you need to go. Okay, so let's dive back into some questions here. Let's get some heat on. I am going to, ooh, I like this one. Let's start with this one. This is starting to get into like specifics territory is what I like to call it. Except, my question is too long. What is... Okay, so I'm going to put a short version of the question, and then I'll read out the full question. Let me paste these answers in here. I took a sneak peek at the ethics question that I just saw, and then I looked away very quickly. But like, let me see here. Rajat's asking, will we get to do a live pitch in front of the instructors for that exam? No, it's totally online. So what you do is you have when you hit that begin exam button that I was showing, it drops in the exam there. You go through the theoretical part, which is like a lot of multiple choice questions that just very focused on specific concepts, techniques, all that kind of good stuff. And then for the practical exam, what happens is you're given a set of requirements and criteria for a project that you have to build. And then what you do is you submit that project along with your exam. All that stuff comes to us. We go through, we grade the theoretical part, then we take a look at the practical part, and then we give you the result based on that. And so Jason's ethics question that I was laughing at a bit was, is it not okay to put crypto miners on client hardware when they overbuy for the project? Hey, I don't know. I can't... That's for you to figure out. I would probably say, yeah. Let me tell you, the real answer to this question is, when was the last time somebody overbought hardware for a project? I feel like the longer my career goes on, like when I was just getting in the game, like, we're talking like 9 years ago, 8 years ago. Oh yeah, you would get like, people wouldn't even step down below the K5000. They would just like K5000 minimum, right? And I'm like, sure. Now I feel like it's the opposite. I'm getting, whew, boy, I'm getting all kinds of hardware specs. So we do have, okay, I have the question here for the poll, but we do have a couple quick questions here. How does the practical part work, by the way? Do we upload a TOE file or something along those lines? That's exactly how it works. You're given the set of criteria. It says build this, include this, very straightforward specifics. You're on your computer, you build your project, and then what you do is there's a little upload button, connect the dots, and then that comes straight to us. So by all means, if you have any questions about these certifications, let me know in the chat. I'm happy to talk more about them. We think they're a really cool thing, and I think if you have seen the HQ Pro, it's just another reason to come back, join, check it out, or if you are a member of the HQ Pro, hit those exams, don't be shy. And if you've never seen the HQ Pro before, what are you doing? Like, this is, did you see the screen share? Did you see how much stuff is in there? Like, this is, check it out. I think you might like it. I think you're gonna like it. Okay, so here, let's hit the next poll question. So now we're in the, what I called the hard section. Doesn't mean every question is hard, but now we're starting to get very specific with the answers. Polyhop's got to run. Fun times. Bye, folks. Thanks for joining us, my friend. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. Here's this next question. What is the argument required to delay a script in frames? And the rest of the question, which I couldn't fit in there, was when using the .run in brackets, not in brackets, with parentheses at the end. When you use the run method. So is it A? What's A? A is delay equals. B, delay frames equals. C, sleep equals. Or D, delay frames equals. Now, you'll notice we got delay frames twice. One with both letters capitalized, one with only the F capitalized. So, what will you choose? Delay frames, sleep, delay frames with only one capital? Now, I will tell you what I notice right now. Because you're going to see, what you're going to see is, because I think you guys can see the answer, right? Can you guys see the answer before I hit like end poll? That's what I'm curious about. Let me know if you guys see the voting answers, like how many people are voting. But what I'm noticing is the total vote count, although maybe there's not as many wrong answers, the people clicking the buttons are definitely the number. At the beginning we had about like 20, 30 votes coming in for every single one. Now we're hovering around 14. So I'm not saying you should vote, but take a guess. There's nothing wrong with getting a question wrong. Don't be shy. Apache saying, hey, I'm working right now too. I know. I'm joshing. I'm just joshing, Okay, so this one's getting to the end here. And actually, well, so good work, folks. 100%. It is delay frames with the camel case. Camel case is what it's called when, just imagine what a camel looks like, and that's how your word is going to look like when you go through a camel case. I don't know like a better way to explain it. Basically, like your first letter is never capital, and then the start of the new words in the variable get capital letters. Now, what's interesting to note is that, TouchDesigner is in a middle ground, a little, I would say maybe, I don't know what to say, but because what you're going to see in TouchDesigner is a lot of things are camel case, but once you start to go out of TouchDesigner, a lot of the Python community has moved away from camel case, and I think actually even in some of the newer PEPs, the PEPs, which are like the Python standards of programming, I think the community is mostly moving towards using underscores. So if you are looking up stuff on Stack Overflow or finding Python examples that are kind of newer, you're probably going to see a lot more of things like delay underscore frames. But what really helps is knowing that TouchDesigner, because it's had its implementation for quite a while, is mostly focused on camel case. So almost all of the things inside of TouchDesigner in terms of variables, function names, method names, attributes, they're usually going to be in that camel case format. So if you know that, it's usually a lot easier to guess what you got to do. Is there an option to hide the selected votes during the poll? Actually, I don't know. Let me see if there's a setting for that. And I got underscore gang represent. I don't know. I don't like underscores. I like camel case. I really vibe with it because it's so easy to do camel case. Like underscores, like this really far away thing I got to click. Oh, this is a good one. Let's do this one. Here we go. I love me some camel case. I'm not gonna lie. Love me some camel case. Okay, I gotta shorten a couple of these answers. Hopefully they still make sense though. And it doesn't look like I can't hide. You're all gonna see the votes. That's fine though. That's okay. There's a little bit, we got some. It's group community vibe today. And Alpha Moonbase got a point. But reading the underscores is much better than reading very long camel case. That's for sure. Okay, here we go. Here's the next question. How do you preload a movie file in top? Is it A, click reload in the parameters. B, Python preload method. C, Python load method. Or all of the above. What do you think, people? How do you preload a movie inside of the movie file in? Do you click the little reload button in the parameters? Do you run, op.load? Do you run op.preload? Ooh, spicy take. We're getting a little race here between B and D. Ooh, we got an A vote in there. Ooh. See, now we're getting split decision here. Spicy, never had to use this myself in the chat. No, I know. Preloading is an interesting one. Preloading I find is especially in this day and age, you know, like if we rewind 5 years and we think to ourselves, you know, I got to do some content, 3 or 4 layers on a 1080p screen. Maybe you don't need preloading, you know, maybe you just get away with putting the movies in the files, hit and play, and let it rip after that. But unfortunately, that's becoming like, that is becoming a situation. And now you got things like a 2x2 array of 4K screens, which is all of a sudden 8K, and you're probably going to still have to do multiple layers. They're all on different drives, the different assets. So preloading is really like, once you start getting into higher frame rates, higher resolutions, preloading becomes the difference between the thing working or not. So it's definitely a good one to get under your belt. Okay, so I like this one. So this one, I think so far out of all of them, had the most discrepancy, or lack of consensus is what I should say. So the correct answer is Python preload method, which I've always said, hey, this is my feature request for everyone listening. I would love if there was a preload button on the parameters that triggered, because the trick was here clicking reload in the parameters. And reload in the parameters, unfortunately, also does a kind of full pump and dump, is what I would call it, of whatever's in there. So it's actually quite different than doing the preload. And all of the above is not correct because there's no such thing as a load method. There's only a preload. So we're starting to get a little bit of split decisions here, you know, split calls. Now this one is a good one. This one, I want to see what the results come in for this one. I'm not going to say this is the hardest one. Half the city of Minneapolis says, if we can get McDonald's to bring back Orange High C, we can demand the preload button. Oh, Alpha Moonbase says, well, my Python movie comp has a load method. Okay, maybe that's okay. We'll have our people talk to your people and figure that out. That's good. High C is good. I'm surprised they don't have High C. What do they? Don't they have like an orangey? What do you got now? Orange Crush. I feel like when you get to that point where you're like, I'm gonna eat some McDonald's or like whatever, you have to go as extreme of the. You have to basically ingest pure liquid nitrogen sugar. You know, like Fanta. You go. Oh yeah. Fanta, red Fanta. Anybody in the red Fanta? You know what I'm talking about? You kind of just got to go like crazy. You got to get like either Barks or Fanta or like Orange Crush. What's the point of going to like eating like the dirtiest food if you're not also drinking the dirtiest drink? Okay, so I was hyping this question up. Now I don't know if this is the hardest question, but this is definitely on the most obscure question, which of course all of my answers are way too long. Okay, I'm going to make this one longer. I'm going to make this one, because I can end it early, I just realized. I'm going to make it 5 minutes, and then we're going to do the A, B, C, D in chat situation, okay? That's what's going to happen here. Okay, so this one. They had Fanta, but you all complained. Who complained? Fanta is the bomb. Of all the time I spent in Bangkok, Fanta is like my jam. Okay, here we go. Here's the question. What is the geodetail referring to? Is it, and I'm going to start putting the question, I'm going to start putting the answers in the chat here. Is it A, name for a collection of SOPs that are creating procedural geometry? Is it B, the level of detail you see in a geometry's viewer? Oops, and it looks like that one didn't send on Twitch, so I'm going to fire that one again. Hopefully I get a check mark. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Is it B, that one? Or is it C, backend structure for holding all the data inside of a SOP? Or is it D, none of the above? Whew, that's a tricky one. What do we got here? Let me see the results. We have 0 stamps, so it's probably catching up. I'll start seeing some stamps in a second, but let me see if I can also put these all into one message. Maybe that's like the smart thing to do. No, never mind. I'm just going to send them again. So is it A? What is the geo detail referring to? Is it A, a name for a collection of SOPs that are creating a procedural geometry? Is it B, the level of detail you see in the geometry's viewer? Is it C, backend structure for holding all the data inside of a SOP? Or D, none of the above? This is a spicy one. What is the geo detail? What is it referring to? Folks in the chat, I'm curious, have you ever heard of the geo detail before? Ooh, we got a lot of folks voting for C. We're seeing a lot of no's. I told you I'd stump you guys. I told you I had a stumper. I had a couple stumpers. This is when you know you're talking to somebody who has spent far too much time on the wiki. Is if they know, if you're like, yes, of course I know what the geometry detail is. I've been on the wiki a lot. That's the second part of that answer is yes, I've been on the wiki a lot. So I'll give this a little bit more time because I know folks are also catching up on the stream. So what is the geo detail referring to? I'll put the answers one more time in the chat. Is it A, a name for the collection of SOPs that are creating a procedural geometry? Is it B, the level of detail you see in the geometry's viewer? Is it C, the backend structure for holding all the data inside of a SOP? Or is it D, none of the above? Is it something else? Is this a trick question? Maybe you haven't heard of it because it doesn't exist. Ooh. That's a spicy take. Maybe you haven't heard of it because it doesn't exist. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if all of the exam was trick questions? It's not, but can you imagine? We got a lot. There's not a lot of answers in here. We got a handful of people on C. We got 1B. We got 1D. Ooh, spicy, spicy. So I'm gonna end. I'll probably end this one in a second. I'm prepping behind the scenes so I can explain what it is. Okay, I want to end this one. I think we got the votes in. TD is a lie. TD is a lie. XD, I like that one. End poll. Okay, so C was the correct answer. And I'll share my screen here because if you haven't seen this page before, I recommend taking a look at it on the wiki. And no lie, we cover this inside our SOPs Demystified course on the HQ Pro. We talk about True Fiasco saying the points, vertex, and primitive data answers are confusing. That's true, you know, but I'll come back to the answers in a second. So actually, let me do the answers first. Well, it's definitely not a collection of SOPs. It's not the geo detail. It has nothing to do with the geo viewer, and it's not none of the above. So the answers, you should have been able to rule out, if you knew what the geo detail was, you should be able to rule out A, B, and D. And C, you should have been like, okay, it's the backend structure for holding all the data inside of a SOP. Now, what does that mean when I say holding all the detail inside of a SOP? What does that even mean? Well, let me show you. Let me go to this tenant. I'm like temporal pincering myself right here. If you go on the wiki, and I'm gonna guess a bunch of people put they did the Google search of it and they found this wiki page and they're like, oh, that's what it is. So all of the data inside of a SOP, and I feel like I talk about this a lot just in general when it comes to TouchDesigner and operators. You know, at the bottom of everything is just data. And the different operator families are just representations and common workflows for that style of data. So really, you know, SOPs, chops, tops, at the base There's just like a bunch of numbers that are kind of just organized in a specific format, specific way, and then you have a bunch of tools that will just operate on those numbers. And that's why you have so many operators like chop to sop, chop to top, top to chop, sop to chop, all the different ways of flipping between these families, because really at the base of it, you're just saying, okay, well, take these numbers and just put them in the pixel format, or take them, put them in channel format, or put them in, you know, a geometry detail format. And the geometry detail is kind of like the fundamental structure and organization of how that data sits for SOPs, which is that everything is either in the list of points or a list of primitives, and then those things can get grouped together. But everything really sits inside of this geodetail. And I'm not going to go into like a full breakdown of the geodetail. If you are interested in learning about the geodetail, highly recommend check out, if you go to the wiki, you type in geometry detail, or if you join the HQ Pro, we have our SOPs Demystified course where I talk about the geodetail in a lot more detail. Ba-dum-tsing. So geodetail is a very interesting thing, and once you actually, you know, and it might seem like, oh, why do I need to learn the geodetail? Like, I don't need to learn this, these are SOPs. Actually, one of the things I find is, if you've ever been in that situation, which, and I say if you've ever, but I know that the truth is we have all been in that situation, where you have one SOP, and then you plug in the second SOP, and no matter what you do on the second SOP, it like doesn't do anything, and you're like, why isn't this SOP working? It must be broken. Not broken, but a lot of the time we don't realize which parts of the geometry detail the SOPs are working on. So for example, you know, if you don't have a primitive, if all you have is a point cloud and you have no primitives, and you plug that into a primitive SOP and try and do something, you know, the primitive SOP is working on the primitive list or a group of the primitive list. And if you have no primitives, it doesn't do anything. So that's why learning a little bit about the geodetail can really help you avoid some of that frustration of, why aren't these SOPs working like they should be working? So that's a fun one. That's definitely a stumper. That's definitely the more obscure side of things to know about TouchDesigner. We're doing that. And then we're doing that. Okay, so now we should be good. Holler in the chat if we're doing it. I really hope like my whole geometry detail spiel didn't get like destroyed by audio sync, but it sounds like maybe it did. But regardless, if you go on the wiki and you search for geometry detail, it's good stuff to know. What do we got here? Let me just catch up on chat. True Fiasco is asking, how do you access or work with the W part? Thinking 4D rotations. Well, that with the amount of time we have, and I don't really know, so we'll just leave that one for now. Okay, so let's go on to our next question here. Let's see what we got here. I think we're just gonna do we're gonna do some stumper. Nah, that was the stumpiest of the stumping. But we got a couple tricky ones. Might be tricky for some folks. Let's see how you fare on this one. The stumpers are stupid. That was the hope. The stumpers would be a bit more educational. Okay, so let's see. So in this one, unfortunately, the questions are going to get cut off, but it's always the same word getting cut off. So you'll know what word it is. It's not like you won't have to worry. We don't have to go to the chat version. Dazzy saying, sorry, late to the show. No problem, my friend. Recording will be up after this. By all means, enjoy watching it. Jason's asking, I have a question. When do you think trade shows and public events will be back? That's a tricky one. I think it really depends on region by region. Is going to have a real different feel on what they believe is the right time. Because what I can say is, you know, having lots of friends all over the world, I'm kind of hearing how things are in different parts of the world. And, you know, for example, if you think about a place, actually many places in Asia now, in particular Taiwan, a lot of things are kind of back to normal. Like, people hold workshops in Taiwan, in-person workshops, where everyone goes into a room and like works together, just because, you know, a lot of Asian countries especially were very strict about their internal country bubbles. So if you were coming into the country, You're literally taken from the airport to a hotel for 2 weeks, where you like, if you leave the room, you'll get arrested. And it sounds strict, but that kind of strictness then allows the rest of the internal country to know, hey, anyone who is like on the ground probably doesn't have COVID because they had to go through a quarantine situation. And then in places like North America, US, Canada, it's all the same. We're still like heavily locked down. And actually, Rajat's saying Hong Kong is 21 days for their quarantine. So it's really going to depend on a case-by-case basis. I know actually I was talking to a friend, my friend Gershinder, up in Dubai, and we're talking about the World Expo that's was supposed to be last year. It's going to come up later this year. They rescheduled it. And one of the things that was interesting about Dubai, he was mentioning, was that if you are a foreigner and you come to Dubai, they'll just vaccinate you like right there. Like you get the vaccine on the way in, I believe, is the situation they got, because they are still trying to do a lot of events and things like that. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It sounds like vaccines are starting to come out. So if those kind of continue rolling out over the summer, and hopefully we can look for a bit more normalcy into the fall. That's the real hope. So with that said, let's hop into the next question here. Let's hop into, what does SSAO stand for? And all of the words have the same word getting cut off, which is occlusion. So we got super speed ambient occlusion, super speed area occlusion, screen stepped ambient occlusion, or screen space ambient occlusion. What does SSAO stand for? Now I'm going to put it in the chat also, if you know what SSAO stands for. Do you know what SSAO is and what it is useful for? Dazzy is asking also in the chat. Oh, I know. I missed the opportunity for Super Saiyan ambient occlusion. Damn it. That really... that would have been really good. I wish I could edit the poll and like just add it right now. Daz is saying, looking to sign up to the HQ Pro very soon. Am I best to set up TD on Mac or PC or both? Really up to you. Most of our courses focus on Windows because that's where people are going to be really deploying their projects, getting their things set up. And that's where really you'll find like the best compatibility just with hardware, with I/O, with all the features just being there easily. So I always recommend, like, if you can just boot camp on your laptop, even on like a MacBook, boot camp into Windows, set up TouchDesigner on it. Even though I know like the world like literally hates rebooting their computer, like myself included. But the peace of mind that you'll have just working on the PC side, I think, is worth it. But also, if you do end up, we got a lot of users who are Mac users, and anytime you encounter some kind of issue, we're always there to help you and say, okay, well, on Mac you can't do this, so here's an alternative that you can do, or here's how you have to edit this, shader to make it work on Mac. So by all means, everyone's welcome, Mac or PC. You feel free to join, and we're always there to answer questions and make sure people are getting the most out of the resources. Okay, so I'm going to end this question. I think I realized this was still set for a 5-minute vote, so we don't need it to be like a 5-minute vote on this one. So the correct answer, screen space ambient occlusion, is correct. Now I want to see somebody in the chat. I want to see somebody, give me the Cole's note of brownie points goes to whoever says what SSAO is useful for. And in the meantime, we got delicious goat meal. I like that. I ran into a bug the other day when I realized that the text is rendered in a PNG for some reason. RIP scaling. That's interesting. Is that a text top? What do we got here? I've used Microsoft Surface tablets as remote consoles. Great stuff. Yeah, those are actually kind of hidden gem, is the Surface tablets as like a very simple tablet that can run TouchDesigner and basically make a UI on it. Tristan's yelling Linux in the chat, like, bro, I know. Me too. And we got a couple folks talking about SSAO. It's usually use it for shadows and shading detailed areas. I'm sure there's more technical explanation. Realistic shadows and stuff from textures. Yeah, it makes everything feel grounded with SSAO. like nooks and crannies in bricks. Actually, Apache's explanation is how I usually explain it when I have to do it quickly. I'm like, yeah, it like does the nooks and crannies better. Nora's saying slowing down frame rates. I like that one. That's a good zinger. Ambient lighting effects, points, and scene shadows. Yeah. So screen space ambient occlusion. So if you know ambient occlusion, it's a very taxing process that makes renders look way better, makes the lighting look more realistic. It's just a generally, like anything you see coming out of C4D or Houdini or like even a lot of the gaming engines, Unreal and Unity, is going to have ambient occlusion turned on in some way. Now, ambient occlusion itself does a lot of physical modeling, where similar to PBRs in a sense, where PBR material. Damn, I just. I'm not gonna. I can't make the analogy because that's another question. Okay, I'm not gonna make the analogy, but damn it, I think I ruined the next question. That's okay, but it's very taxing on the system. And what SSAO, which is screen space ambient occlusion, tries to do is try to simplify all the math and processing that happens to get a lot of the benefits of ambient occlusion, but just doing it using like the RGB and the depth of the scene instead of going through like every geometry and calculating AO for them individually. And that's why you'll see we have something called the SSAO top, and there's a lot of folks who use it in a lot of cool ways. Actually, Polyhop Left, he I think had a tutorial on YouTube where he was talking about SSAO, and I know Richard Burns uses SSAO a lot. Like SSAO, once you want to make a render look really pretty, after you've done all the beginning steps of using PBRs, nice lights, environment lights, all that good stuff, final piece of the puzzle, you drop the SSAO on it, and it just really helps with, exactly as Patchy said, making the looks and crannies look good, add a little bit of shadow and shading and all that kind of stuff. Cool, good work on that one, good work on that one. I guess, what's the next one here? What do we got? Okay, I think we got two more, and then we got a fun one. Yeah, True Fiasco, definitely take a look. SSAO can be still very taxing, but as long as you just play with the settings, you know, set it to be like lower resolution, like all that good stuff. It has settings for all that, but I've had it work. You aren't going to get as much bang for buck, but especially if you're doing something where maybe you're trying to pre-render, or maybe your machine is so beefy that like maybe you can get away with running SSAO in real time. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. This one's an interesting one. I mean, it's not that. I say it's an interesting one. It's not that interesting. It's pretty normal. It's normal, just like all the questions. Okay, I'll set this back to 2 minutes now. Here we go. What does PBR stand for? Which I hope I didn't ruin it with the last explanation I was trying to do. Does it stand for A, plastic-based rendering? I'm sure you've seen those nice surfaces, plastics, and all that kind of stuff. B, physically based rendering, which annoyingly got cut off. Is that really the... It's silly if you saw my screen because you see how big the bar is. So maybe on your screens, like the question box is like real small, but on my screen, it is so long and it has so little text in it before it gets cut off. Or is it precision-based rendering? Precision-based rendering. Or physically broken rendering. Stands for Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yeah, Apache stands for the old college days. Accurate, accurate, accurate. Peanut butter rendering. I should have had that one. By the end here, I should just have crazy answers. I think physically broken rendering is a pretty good crazy answer. I think we got the votes in on this one. We'll just blast through the next few. We're almost at the end of the stream here also. So, you know, we're coming up on the end of the stream. If you have any final questions, thoughts, put them in the chat. Let me know. I'm seeing all the chats fly by. If you have any questions about the HQ Pro, put them in there. Got any questions about the certifications, put them in there. I'll do a quick little 1 minute, 2 minute little recap of those at the end of the stream. But by all means, if you have questions, let us know. So I'm going to end this poll. I think we got it's physically based rendering. I don't know if I gave it away or y'all are already hip to that. Probably the second. Probably the second is what I think. Okay, here's a good one. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. I'll put this one up and then I'll hit the next question that we got from Nori in the chat. Okay, here's the next question. And while that question is on screen, Nora, I'll answer your question in the chat. How do you quickly add tangent attributes to a SOP? Is it A, the add SOP to add some tangents? Is it B, the tangent SOP? Is it C, attribute create SOP? Or is it D, all of the above? Now, while you're thinking hard about tangent attributes, let me see. Nora's asking, question, read the certification. Do you already have to be an advanced dev to get through this? Is there a way to get caught up to that level while working through the cert process at the same time? Absolutely. So you don't have to be an advanced dev at all to get through this, because this is really the proof that you have a strong foundation of TouchDesigner, not, especially the first course I'm talking about here, which is the TouchDesigner Operation Foundations. That certification is not about proving that you know every little thing. So a lot of the questions in the last hour and even 15 minutes are not questions that are going to be part of this exam. These are just more fun and harder ones that we brought for the chat. But they're going to be really focused on the fundamentals, foundational kind of knowledge you need to know for operating TouchDesigner. And inside of the HQ Pro, what you're going to see is you have all the resources in there already set up in a really easy to use format to go through it and kind of learn everything you need to know, whether you have experience or not. And then you're going to be able to just do the examination right after that. So you absolutely do not need to be an advanced dev to get through it, especially now maybe if you were talking about the GLSL foundations or the Python mastery certification that are going to be coming out soon, those ones might require you to have a little bit more stronger skill set, and especially because the material starts to get more dense. For the GLSL foundations, you're going to have to know 2D shaders, 3D shaders, basics of making particle systems in shaders, those kind of things. But those are separate. TouchDesigner Operation Foundations is really a great certification that I recommend almost everybody get. It's hop in the HQ Pro, you join it for a month, you watch a bunch of courses, learn a bunch of stuff, solidify your foundations, get the certification, and then if you want to move on your merry way, by all means, you can. But I think it's a great one for everyone to have in their toolkit, especially since, there's more talent now than ever. So how can you distinguish and set yourself apart from others is something that you should be thinking about. And that's kind of what we're thinking about and how we're bringing these kind of new features for you guys. So the poll is done. And the correct answer is attribute create SOP. Good work, everybody. I thought this was going to stop. I thought tangent SOP was going to get somebody, but it got nobody. What do we got here? Rui saying, this was fun. Thank you. No, my pleasure. My pleasure. We got safe to say there's going to be material available for each exam that the questions are pulled from, correct? Absolutely. So there will never be a certification exam that we do that we also don't have all the appropriate material for you to really master all that stuff before you get to the exam. Even the exam ideas that we have certifications for later, we won't release them until we first release courses on how to do all these things, how to really understand all these things, and then we release the certification. So if you're an advanced dev, you could jump into the HQ Pro, probably, not do any of the kind of pre-learning stuff or going through the actual learning materials. You could probably do all right on the exam, but if you are just getting started, we have all the materials there ready for you. So we're going to do one more question here, only because I like one of the answers. And then we'll have our little end of the stream session here. So let me put this one. Actually, this is gonna be hard. I know all the answers. We're gonna have to do. Okay, I'm gonna set this one to 5 minutes. We got to do the chat version of this where I do the A, B, C, D situation. Okay, so let me just make sure I got this in the right order. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got this. Okay, here we go. Here's the start of the question. What is the main function of a try except block in Python? Is it A, trying to access resources on a system that you may be exempt from accessing, whether for permission reasons or other reasons? Is it B, perform code with the ability to gracefully catch errors? Is it C, make messy code work? Or is it D, all of the above? Oh, and it looks like D didn't go through on Twitch. Like D, all of the above. What do we think it is? Is it A, trying to access resources on the system that you can't access? B, perform code with the ability to catch errors gracefully, make messy code work? Or D, all of the above? Oh, interesting. We got some mixed ones. I could see how this one could be a little bit confusing too. This was a more fun question. Get those answers in there. Yeah, C is going to be real. C is going to be too real for a lot of folks. Like C, you know how you always have those projects that are really clean and organized and everything's in the right place, and then you ship it to site, and from that point onward, there's like, it only gets messier. It never gets any more, it never gets cleaner, only messier from there. Once the project has like touched the site, it never gets cleaner. And try and accept is a real, fits right in that category of, C, yeah, I'll end this one because I think we got our votes in. B is the correct answer, which is run through code, but be able to gracefully catch errors and operate around them. C is really the, C is going to feel like real to a lot of the hearts of the people in the chat, though, I think, myself included. Okay, great. So we're at the end of our little game show here. And as the final kind of little element that we're going to look at, I'm just going to show you a little quick little tour of the HQ Pro and also tell you a little bit about our big announcement, which if you're joining late is our new first ever TouchDesigner professional certification, which is called the TouchDesigner Operation Foundations certification. And what this certification does, you know what, let me share my screen first before because you're just looking at my bald head while I'm yapping away. You might as well look at what the certification badge looks like, you know. Let's go there. Here we go. This is the inside of the HQ Pro. If you have not seen the HQ Pro, not heard the HQ Pro, you know what I should do is I'll put the link in the chat first, because I always do this thing where the link is the last thing I put in the chat, and almost always I forget that the link has got to go in the chat. So I'll send you the link first, then you can like look at the link while I'm talking about things. Seems illogical. iihq.tv/touchcert. That's where you want to go. And that's going to take you to this page, which I could try and like mimic my facial expression on the thumbnail. That video is going to tell you basically all the stuff you need to know about the HQ Pro and the certifications. You can learn all the features of the HQ Pro here, see a lot of the courses we've got, see all the different things we're doing, all the different ways we're trying to bring you guys value. If you've never been inside of the HQ Pro, this is what it looks like. This is what our learning platform looks like. You're going to have one section that's dedicated to certification programs, which I'm going to talk about in a second. You're going to have your main area of video courses and training materials. You're going to have one area which is kind of like our more holistic area that tells you how to get into the private Facebook group where myself, Matthew Reagan, and all of our teachers are kind of providing guidance on a daily basis to everyone in our group. How to make a profile on our brand new job board, which if you haven't seen, by the way, jobs.interactiveimmersive.io. Lots of companies looking for people. You know, even though even though the times are tough, there's still a lot of work getting posted up here. So you should definitely go and check that out. Real modern platform, really focused for our industry. So you'll see even like all the categorization. You can say, oh yeah, you know what? I want just TouchDesigner and Notch gigs. Select those off. Boom. filtered, sorted for you, good to go. We've got our coaching calls. Every 2 weeks, we do a group Zoom call where folks can ask questions, and then I work with everybody in front of the group, kind of one-on-one, and we have the conversation to see if we can get to the bottom of your issues as quickly as possible. Video courses and training, just to show you, like, there's a lot of courses and a lot of really cool new ones that we've been working on. Noah Norman just did one for us on GLSL particle systems. We did one recently, Python in practice, DMX and TouchDesigner, Notch, audio analysis. Matthew did a great one on remote production and virtual broadcast desks. I mean, there's just pages and pages of very specific courses that will really help round out all your skills inside of TouchDesigner. So that's always a good thing. Now, the certifications, that's a new thing. That's the tasty part. Certification programs. You're going to see here a lot of stuff. Now, these are all the certifications we're kind of working on behind the scenes. A lot of them are really close to launching as well. And you're going to see that these are all really focused on specific competencies and core areas of knowledge in TouchDesigner. So, you know, we got stuff like the GLSL foundations, Python mastery, interactivity, which is stuff like building user interfaces, using widgets, content inputs like web APIs, MIDI, OSC, all of these kind of different areas that we've identified as the places where you're going to be working a lot and expected to know things. We've created a kind of certification and learning path to go through those. Now, what you'll see is Operation Foundations is the first one that's launched right now, which is the big announcement in all caps. And we're really excited because we've been working on this for a long time. You'll see, and this is actually going back to Nora's question, when you're in the HQ Pro, you're going to go here and you're going to see all the materials that you're going to need for preparing yourself for this exam. First page is going to tell you a little bit about it, what to expect, how much time it's going to take to get through, all that good stuff. And then you're going to have all, like literally every single piece of material that you're going to need to prepare yourself for the exam, which is a lot of stuff because these exams are not something to shake a stick at. You got to know a lot of stuff. You're going to get questions that are very specific on the theory portion of it, and as well on the practical portion, you're going to need to make a project with some specific criteria. And all that stuff is built into our HQ Pro platform. So once you finish going through the learning material, you're dropped in here, gives you the rules of the exam. You give in your first name, last name, email address, and then bam, you hit begin and you are dropped right into the exam. And there's a little timer that keeps track of your time. It's a 100-minute exam, so that's an hour and 40 minutes. So, you know, make sure I'm telling you, it's not a one you want to shake a stick at. Now, if you're a pro who's been working at this for many years, you could probably like get through it pretty quickly. But for a lot of folks, that is not the case, and you'll want to make sure you get a snack before you dive into this exam. So that's what we're really excited to launch. And so as a part of launching our first certification and with many more to come, starting on Sunday, we're going to have a promotion, which is going to give folks 50% off of their first month in the HQ Pro, which is a nice thing. And I thought I had an immediate and, but I don't remember the and. But oh, that's the end. So it runs from Sunday all the way to next week, Saturday. So it's a 1 week long promo. And the and is that if you're here, the link that I'm going to put for you in the chat basically just gives you early access to that 50% off promotion. Because for most people, if they're not watching me live, they are going to get notified on Sunday about it. And actually, I just realized it doesn't run till Saturday. It runs all the way to Monday. It runs to the end of the month. So it runs to the 28th. My mistake on that one. It runs all the way to the end of the month. But you guys, because you're here, get a special link, which I'm going to put in the chat right now, which is going to give you access, early bird access to this promotion. Where's my link here? I think, you know, listen, obviously biased, but I wish something like the HQ Pro existed when I was learning, because I can't even imagine how much it would have catapulted my career so much quickly. Because if you gotta remember, you know, all the things in here, you can learn on yourself. There's no reason you can't. But the amount of time it's going to take for you to dig through them, get through different resources, kind of put it all together, when we've created such a nice, clean workflow, everything's already organized, explained clearly, top to bottom, fundamentals, advanced stuff. it really is kind of a catalyst to jumpstart your career. And certification, we're hoping, you know, from the employer side of things, you know, if you've ever tried to hire somebody for a touch designer gig, you know it's difficult, because what does it mean when somebody says they know touch designer? You know, are they audio pros? Are they 3D pros? Are they computer scientists? You never know. So this will really help on the employer side of things, because you can say, hey, you know what? I want someone that knows how to do render picking, or knows how to do this, or knows how to do this. Bam, you know that if somebody's passed the certification exam for that, they're going to know how to do it. So then, aside from that, on the talent side of things, you guys probably already know, like, a lot of the times you're bidding on projects and you're just trying to find any way you can get a leg up on somebody else, whether it's the project you're bidding for or a job application you're putting in. And even for ourselves in our industry, it can be really hard to say all the skills we know. And we're hoping that for HQ Pro members and just the community as a whole, certification helps with that, because then you can say, hey, you know what? Here's all the things that somebody else has tested me on, so I absolutely know these things and can ace these things. Now, the nice thing is, you know, this isn't some kind of, you know, big ticket money situation. Like, you know, you don't have to pay $100 to do the exam, $200 to, none of this. You join the HQ Pro, the exams are available for you there, and especially for the Touch Designer Operation Foundations. For right now, that one is free for anyone who joins the HQ Pro. You can go ahead and just do that exam, and later on, we'll release kind of a little bit of the pricing around how to do exams and stuff like that. But for now, you go to town. You get in there, join the HQ Pro, and do that exam for free. So there's no reason not to at least certify yourself on the Operation Foundations, and then from there, figure out how it goes for you. So let me catch up on the chat real quick before we end this stream. I guess some thanks for the stream, Elburz. Certification stuff really takes it to the next level. We'll be joining HU for sure. Thank you. I will see you soon in there, and we look forward to welcoming folks that are joining us. We got some folks saying, damn, I should join. I mean, I'm glad that the pitches are going really well. You never know sometimes with these pitches, but we got some folks saying I had it for a while but had to leave due to IRL issues. You know, we're hoping the 50% promo for this month really helps folks who can get in there at least. Will there be practice questions? There are no practice questions at the moment. That is something where if we get a lot of requests from members and from the community to put together some practice stuff, we can certainly put together something for you. But if you go through the materials that we've laid out and you really just do kind of not just put it on 2x and kind of put it in the background, but like you're watching it, you're taking notes, you're trying stuff after every video, you'll be more than confident to be able to go through the exam. We had a question, how does the practical part work? Sorry if I missed it. No problem. It is a project file that you upload right into the exam. There is a set of criteria and requirements for what we want to see specifically inside of that project file. You build it, upload it, and we mark it. Now, one thing I'll say is you don't have to worry because we're not marking you on your art. That's why all that stuff is written in there when you guys are going through the exam, but we're really marking on those specific criteria. So you want to hit those criteria and don't worry too much about, like, is this the best piece of art I've ever created? And I forgot to mention just recently when I was doing a little show and tell, you know, the badges are really cool because they use the open badge specification. So these aren't just like PNG files that I've been joking about sending around. These are full-on digital certifications that can be verified by employers in like a few clicks. People can't forge them and like dilute the talent pool with them. You have to go through the exam to get them, and they're very easy to certify, embed into your social profiles, put up on LinkedIn, because it's the same kind of badges that Udemy and Udacity and all of these kind of big learning platforms use. So we had a question regarding employers. Are you guys working on getting the word out to them, selling them on certifications, existence and legitimacy, etc.? Absolutely, yeah. We've already been working with a lot of business partners for a while for different things. Cool news coming soon. But yes, we're working with a lot of companies to get the certifications out into their eyes, ears, and minds so that they know they exist and help promote that legitimacy of them for sure. Jason's asking, are there any remote TD hackathons like game jams? There aren't, but there's no reason you couldn't try setting one up, or at least with a buddy or two, see if that concept works. We are going to have, you know, I'm not going to like spoil the news, but we're going to have some very cool news that might help fill that void in your life. So, you know, keep the eyes on the things. And with that said, it looks like I'm caught up on chat. We're at the end of our chat logs, at the end of our show, at the end of the... We're not at the end of Friday afternoon. It would be nice if we're at the end of Friday afternoon, but we're not at the end of Friday afternoon. So, we do have one final question. Any plans, from True Fiasco, any plans to bring this course into colleges? I remember Matthew's courses were invaluable when starting on TD coming from Pure Data. I would have done that course if it was available in my area. Yeah, we're starting to work with a lot of schools as well. That one's a little bit, just moves at a little bit of a slower pace just because of how schools have been impacted during COVID. Unlike companies who, you know, if they had long-term projects, they're still just working away. Schools are really trying to be very careful about what they're doing with all the COVID situations. So yeah, we're working with schools. Hopefully we can get some school partners on as well. So thank you all for joining us. It was fun. We had our big announcement, which we just mentioned, the certifications. I'll put that link in the chat for you one more time. If you want to hop over there, grab your 50% off your first month. And then, what are all the things I got to say on the end of these things? Next one will be, you know, we're trying to put these on the second Friday of every month, but the last few months it's become the third Friday. But you'll always know when we're going to have our live stream. We do have one once a month. Join the HQ Pro, take a look. I think you'll all get a lot of value from it. Certifications are live now. And then someone's asking, when do you usually have the HQ group calls? Usually we end up putting them on like Thursday afternoons Easter time, like early afternoon Easter time. But if we have folks that are requesting different times, by all means, we're very accommodatable. What's the accommodatable? We can accommodate moving that time around because there's no special reason we have them on Thursday afternoons. It was just the time that we do them. Oh, I was gonna say I'm glad I stumped you all with, or not all, but we got a lot of stumpenings in the geo detail question, so I'm glad I got that one in front of you. Good work for everyone who has been answering all of our TouchDesigner Game Show questions today. You guys did like really well. I thought there was gonna be more. I don't know if you noticed, but like I was like, oh man, like I don't want to get the questions too hard because, but you guys were nailing like a lot of the questions. So good work, everybody. You're doing a bang up job. And with that said, we'll see you on the next live stream, and thank you for joining us.